What's going on, guys? Wuthering Waves patch 2.7 is now officially out, and with the patch comes GALBRENA and an amazing story. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, the story is a 10 out of 10. You guys should absolutely go and experience that if you haven't yet. It's very long though, it took me like 4 or 5 hours to get through, so it's a pretty lengthy story, but I think it's worth it all. I think, yeah, absolutely 10 out of 10. But I digress. I'm Endgame Systems, a channel dedicated to the endgame of Wuthering Waves, and because of that, I'm not gonna focus on the story, but we are instead gonna talk about GALBRENA and her spot in the Wuthering Waves meta landscape. So first things first, it's a bit early to speak about GALBRENA because her best in slot teammate G1 is not out yet, and for that reason I should make it very clear that today's video is just going to be speculation and my various interpretations of parts of her kit. And so if you are the type of person that also likes to speculate and theorize about characters, this is a video for you. Yeah, awesome character, awesome personality, and her gameplay we'll get to in a second, because my opinion on that is a little bit different. I'm going to be formatting this as kind of a pros and cons video, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to be basing a lot of this video on Pride Win. I don't always particularly like taking Pride Win's numbers and just basing my opinions on that, but today is a bit different since she just came out. Pride Win is quite a good source to get early information about a character. Yeah, we are going to be using some of Pride Win's numbers for this video. So the first thing to note is that GALBRENA is a pretty flexible unit, because she has very good base damage on her own. The main question of course becomes whether she's going to be best with the Monofusion team, or if she's going to be better with G1 and Shorekeeper or something along those lines. Of course I think Kuro Games are gonna make sure that her best in slot team is her best in slot, but I do think the Monofusion team is going to come close. And I also think GALBRENA can be played with Frulova and Cantarella and be really satisfied on a team like that. Yeah, it's really cool that this is a very flexible unit, and most of that flexibility comes from her base damage in my opinion. Now, there are something else that pulls down her value again a little bit, but we'll get to that in the weaknesses category. Because first let's speak about another thing that's really nice for pull value, and that's the fact that her signature is actually only around a 20% increase in damage. That's really nice to see, because the last like 3 or 4 releases has been a 30-40% increase in damage. It's nice to see that being pulled back a little bit. I really enjoy seeing that. This means that GALBRENA can be played with Static Mist. Pretty similar to Carlotta, to be honest, in terms of that. She's also pretty similar to Carlotta in terms of base damage. But yeah, the fact that her signature is not mandatory for the character to deal great damage is really neat. I think a lot of people are going to appreciate it, because a lot of us do want to pick up G1, Sonny, Lupa, or Chisa, right? Like all coming out during this patch. So much stuff happening. Yeah, there's a lot to get, so maybe skipping GALBRENA's signature could be the move, guys. If you guys are some of the people that want to get a lot of the characters coming up. Personally, that's probably what I'm going to go for. I do want to pull as much as I can now that I'm doing a lot of YouTube content, because I want to give you guys accurate information based on my own experiences. I'm not able to pull everything right now, so it is what it is, but GALBRENA S0 R0 sounds pretty powerful as well, to be honest, so that's pretty nice. Now, as the last thing about her strengths, let's speak about her S1 a little bit, because if you look at Pride Win, her S1 looks really underwhelming. It's only a 9% damage increase, but if you read into what her S1 actually does, what it does is it gives you crit damage based on your Afterflame stacks. And the thing is, right now, she can only reach Afterflame with something like Cantarella that deals a lot of echo skill damage. Once she gets that G1 that can stack the Afterflame properly for her, that's when this S1 is really gonna take off. So I don't think we can really evaluate the S1 before she gets a proper support. And that's a shame, of course, that her proper support is not out yet, but he will come in the second half, right? So but yeah, that's worth thinking about. Don't judge her S1 just yet, we have to see with G1 as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to some of the weaknesses of her. First of which being the fact that she is an echo skill damage dealer. This trend started with Cantarella, then it came to Frulova, and now it's her on GALBRENA. And echo skill damage is a pretty interesting thing, but what it means is that outside of the Monofusion team, she's not gonna work super well with existing units, because none of them account for having echo skill in your kit. It's a new mechanic. I do consider that a weakness for now, but also it definitely doesn't have to stay a weakness, because in the future, it does seem like Kuro Games has a focus on this echo skill damage stuff, so I think more supports will come for her. Now the second con of GALBRENA is the fact that she's a fusion character. I've touched on this in some of my other videos, but yeah, fusion is a really stacked element already. We already have a beautiful Monofusion team, and there's already alternatives to that, like putting Encore instead of Changli. That's an alternative to the Monofusion team. But what's really nice is that GALBRENA can of course pair with units outside of the fusion element, so she will be the sole fusion character there. As of now, in the current Wuthering Waves, I do consider that a bit of a weakness, because there's just so many good fusion characters already. And that's worth to keep in mind if you already own some of the really good fusion characters, like Brand. Those are the two main weaknesses of her so far. I don't think there's much else to discuss her, like she's just a fantastic, well-rounded character in general. But the last thing we could speak about is the fact that she's a very easy character. That comes with advantages and disadvantages. So the advantages, that she's really easy to pull off, and you can deal her optimal damage in an easier manner than you can with some other characters. That's gonna be very nice for some people. However, the downside is that typically being easy also means that you don't have a very flexible playstyle, but that's not necessarily a weakness or a strength. It just depends on the character, because something like Carlotta is a little bit limited because of that, because she can't really deal with the AoE of Wimping Waste that well. She's still a fantastic character, because she just has the numbers. You get my point here. You can't really optimize her as much as some other characters, right? But regardless, I'm sure we're gonna see some cool mechanics on her as soon as people learn how to play her. I'm going to be releasing a GALBRENA mechanics video myself, one of the next coming days, so stay tuned for that one. I'll look for some secret mechanics for you guys and show them off, so you can see how you can deal more damage with GALBRENA. In conclusion, GALBRENA is a very, very powerful DPS. She's going to be strong for sure. Exactly how strong we'll have to see with the release of Q1, but she's looking to be a top tier character for sure. Just like every release they make these days, she's going to be very, very powerful. And yeah, I'm very happy with her. I'm very happy with her design. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you like her playstyle? Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of her playstyle, but in return, I get to play her with some of my favorite characters like Brand. But yeah, let me know down below what you think. I hope you enjoyed this style of video where I just talk a little bit, because obviously it's day one of the patch, so I've been as excited as you guys to get started. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.